As the ongoing Three Nebula War winds down, stubborn remnants of the Thargoid invasion force remain in 4 systems. 3 located in the Pleiades Nebula and HIP 18390 in the California Nebula. Previously, repairs had begun on the starport California Freeport, but a fresh attack has once again engulfed the station in flames, seeing a return of the rescue ship to the region. The pilots of Skunkworks continue to fend off the remaining Thargoid assault, but with the Thargoid numbers relatively low now, the opportunity is there to investigate a tangentially related event that has occurred near Barnards Loop. There are pilots of humanity, scientists and explorers that have been investigating ancient azimuth biochemicals megaships following on from the discovery of the Adamastor last year. The events of which can be seen in our Colonising the Coal Sack playlist, and were covered in detail by Commander Pixtru on his channel as well. But in more recent times, a trail of beacons left by the survivors of the Hesperus have been located and have led commanders to a new Guardian ruin near Barnards Loop. Early reports suggest there is also evidence of a Thargoid presence there, and so a journey to the system to carry out threat assessments is needed. Now, I am just a dumb Thargoid hunter, so the secrets of the ancient saga will have to be left to far smarter commanders than myself, but we in the AX community have an intense familiarity with Guardian ruins, having visited hundreds of times in order to replenish ammo synthesis materials. Carrying out an assessment of the practical utility of these locations falls well within the AX commander's wheelhouse. From orbit, I spotted a strange entry in the navigation panel, but upon getting closer to the surface, the ancient ruins piqued my interest, and I decided to head there first. Initially, I was not familiar with this layout of Guardian ruins, but Commander Grimscrub would inform me that this is a style of Guardian ruins that predates those we are familiar with now. Somewhere on this surface we would also find the final destination of the Hesperus crew. Unlike the Adamastor, their tale was set centuries ago. The Adamastor logs revealed shock and awe from the ancient crew when encountering the Thargoids. These days we already know all we need to know about the Guardians and Thargoids. If they are close enough to kill us, we are close enough to kill them. The layout of this ruin is focused on a central pit, surrounded by arrangements of Guardian obelisks. I would do some exploring to see if any unusual features stood out, apart from the layout, but in the surrounding area it really was just the obelisks that we are already familiar with. So I decided to move up the hill and investigate the central pit. When a Guardian relic revealed itself to me, I decided to take it, just in case it came in handy if we came across a Guardian terminal to activate.
Barnards Loop deployed.
There is an outcrop of rock overlooking the central pit, and I decided to move closer to get a better view. With the survey of the perimeter fully complete, it was time to head down into the pit itself. Peering down at the arrangements of Guardian technology below, there certainly was an air of ancient mystery about this place. But my knowledge of the scientific aspects of the galaxy are very limited, and so would be primarily concerned with assessing any risks in the area. So far things have turned up safe, but you never know what may be waiting around the next corner. After venturing out on foot, I had the opportunity to admire Barnards Loop from this unusual perspective as I waited for my ship to recall itself to my location. There had been nothing of note found at this location, so it was time to move on to the next navigation entry in the area. As I said when approaching the planet, I spotted an unusual entry in the navigation list. It wasn't Thargoid and it wasn't Guardian, so investigating this would be my next objective. On my approach to the signal, I could see that it was an anaconda on the surface of the planet. It would appear that I had found the final location of the Hesperus crew. A makeshift camp had been constructed around the crash site, but knowing already that these events occurred hundreds of years ago, it was extremely unlikely that we were to find survivors. I did locate some kind of beacon nearby, and while I couldn't interact with it on foot, it would lead me to return in my SRV following my search. Despite searching high and low, it was very clear that this camp had been long abandoned, and there were no survivors here. When returning to the beacon with my SRV, it turned out the beeping was coming from a material drop, but there was a comms relay nearby, from which I could download a log left by one of the survivors.
This is Kellerman. I've just given myself a last little stimulant. That should keep me going long enough to record this. To tell Azimuth how we died. 3 days ago, I went with the survey team to the structures. Ackerman and Zhao had brought something to life. I saw this pillar rise up from the ground with a large crystal inside it, blazing brilliant light. After 1 million years, their machinery was still functioning. They fired up some kind of high-energy particle accelerator, which shot the crystal from its moorings. This didn't feel like archaeology to me. More like grave robbing. I should have known there'd be defenses, but the hovering drone caught us by surprise. It vaporized Ackerman along with 3 others. I managed to destroy it eventually, but there were more of them gliding around the structures, and we got out fast. I offered to take the crystal back, thinking the drones might come looking for it. but Dr. Farrell had already had her experiments ready to go. Weapons experiments. She told me that was always the priority for both the Adamastor and the Hesperus. Locate non-human technology that could be developed for the military market. Azimuth wants to be the first corporation selling alien weaponry, which will make them bigger than Syrians. That's all they care about. That's who I've been working for all these years. No better than Pharmasapien after all. A few hours ago, I was woken up by this intense blue flash. It seemed to come from everywhere. I thought we were under attack. Then Farrell came out stumbling out of her lab, her clothes and body burned black, and dropped dead. The others started collapsing within the hour. I think there was some kind of radiation surge from the crystal we stole. I tried to get the ship's drive online again, but too weak. Can hardly stand now. Pain in every muscle, vision is blurred, my skin is like everyone else's. God knows what experiments Farrell was running, but now there's three dead races on this moon. We shouldn't be here. Humans don't belong. If Azimuth finds us, please don't find us.
It is clear from this log that there is far more to uncover with the Azimuth storyline. Falling far outside of my skill set, this is a job for Matthias, or Pixtru. But I think it is safe to conclude that there are no survivors at this location. And once again I was on the move to investigate yet another navigation entry nearby, this time another Guardian ruin, and I would soon find out that this was a far more traditional Guardian ruin than the previous one. Investigations would need to be carried out as to whether this Guardian room was active and what kind of blueprint could be gained by activating its terminal. And upon venturing out in the SRV, I would be met with the familiar resistance of Guardian Sentinels. So activating the terminal would be the usual process of lighting up the pylons nearby. I already had a Guardian relic to hand, and as long as I could fend off the Sentinels, there should be no problem. Now, it turns out there was an unusually high number of Guardian Sentinels at this location, so I decided to go and try activating the terminal before I destroyed them all. But I was quite surprised to see that when the relic was deposited, the terminal did not activate. I would try this several times again after eliminating the Guardian Sentinels, but would again be met with failure. It's possible this terminal requires the key, much like the Guardian Fighter terminals, but if so, that would make this a Guardian Fighter terminal, and the Guardian Fighters are really not worth unlocking for any serious purposes. So by now, we had established that there were several Guardian ruins on the surface as well as an abandoned human camp. Threat level not rising above that of a typical Guardian visit. However, there would be one more point of interest to take a look at before heading back to the California Nebula. Surrounding this Thargoid ruin, for kilometers around, lay the remains of many Thargoid interceptors. Could this be the remnants of an ancient battle between the Guardians and Thargoids? It certainly is an interesting place to visit, but whatever happened here, we missed it by millennia at least. And so, pending the outcome of investigations by those with far more appropriate backgrounds in the science of the galaxy, I think we can classify the threat level of this place as minimal.